Hey, it's the 23rd of February, 2024. I'm Rudy Maxa, and you're here for a little talk about travel. Got a couple more experts. I'm a travel journalist and broadcaster, and in the side of your upper right-hand corner of your screen, you see Tommy Danielsen, partner in my travel company, and other other exploits, I guess I could say. But he's an expert on frequent flyer points and miles and airlines and all kinds of stuff. And Mr. Airlines is below him, Marshall Jackson, who has wide experience both in government and in private enterprise with airlines, and he's joining us now. And we're just going to review some stuff that's happened in the last week or 10 days or so that you ought to know about. So, Tommy, I know you wanted to begin with credit card strategy.
Yeah, what's in your wallet? Which
Yeah,
is, what Capital One usually says. We're going to talk about them a little bit later. But I saw an article today. I don't know if you saw that. Well, Marshall has been busy.
He has a real job. Yeah.
He does have a real job. That is actually very true. He does have a real job for sure.
Right.
He does have. No, I saw Gary Leff. It's funny that in this article further down, this wallet right here, it reminds me of George Costanza back in when he had his wallet with the there you go. Remember that? That's what it reminds me of. What credit card strategy folks are having for 2024? What's going to be in your wallet? What's going to be the gig here? Of course, Gary makes his retirement is based on any people buying credit cards, and I also, as you can see in the bottom left corner, that he's cheating on his taxes with his Texas driver's license. But here, let's see what he has in his wallet. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about what your strategy is for the year first before we reveal what Mr. View from the Wing has as his plan. We'll start with you, Rudy. What's your credit card strategy for this year?
Well, I think sort of trying to direct your credit card at exactly what you want. So obviously you have more latitude with a general credit card like an American Express card or a Capital One X Venture card, or that will give you even a Bilt card that will allow you to transfer the points you're earning on that card to various hotel companies and various airlines. So you should see if any of those hotel companies appeal to you or ones that you're interested in, along with the airlines. So you've got, I would just call them third-party cards, as
Right.
opposed to an American Airlines card, a United card, a Delta card. I mean, but I have a Delta card and I pay a premium price. I get Hertz Presidential, whatever, President's section, and when I never have to talk. What's it called?
President's Circle.
President's Circle, yeah, membership. So when you go to Hertz, you don't have to talk to anybody or stand in line. You just walk out, and there are 10 to 20 to 30, depending how big the airport or place is, 50 cars that you can choose from, and you drive out. That's it. You hand a guy at the checkout thing, and he reads the gate after he's recorded your card number, and you're out.
What card do you get that with?
It's with my Delta, the expensive Delta card. I don't know what it's called, and that's worth it to me. And it also gives me some club access too. But I just only put Delta charges on it, really, because I get $1 per point, but I can get $2 or $3 per point on some other cards. Or even if it's only $1, I can apply it to others. So what I'm saying is I use third-party cards for general stuff, but I have specific cards that will give me access to an airline club or free luggage. I mean, if you fly, as I do, because I live in Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is a Delta hub, to put it mildly, the Delta card gives me free luggage, free check luggage. And if I had to pay $35, $40, or $45, whatever it's gone up to now, a bag on each trip, that would hurt a lot. It certainly more than covers the cost of the card. So that's my strategy right now. And as a renter, I carry the Bilt card because I can put my rent on the Bilt card, and they issue my landlord a check, so I don't have to pay a $60 credit card fee. Yet I get Bilt points, which can be sent over to Hyatt and airlines and other hotel companies, et cetera, et cetera. So that's it in a nutshell.
Et cetera. What about Mr. Jackson? What's your nitty gritty for next?
Probably not all that dissimilar. I'm focused on the Ultimate Rewards cards. So I keep my primary spend cards are Chase Sapphire Preferred and the Freedom Unlimited. Sapphire Preferred, whatever is bonus gets charged to that card. everything else gets charged to the Freedom Unlimited card. And like probably both of you gentlemen, I carry American Express Platinum card. I don't charge that much on it, but the benefits are worth the annual fee to me. And I have an airline card lying around. I've got the American executive card, city executive card that gets me the Admirals Club membership. And living so close to DCA, I do fly American a bit.
Right. Tommy, what do you got, Tommy?
Me personally, well, I kind of my go-to card that racks up the most miles and points around here, I would say is probably the American Express Gold card, which gives 4 miles per dollar spent on dining. I think that's the trifecta of cards in the American Express portal or portfolio that I have is I've racked up a lot. We have events at various hotels, so it makes sense for me to have all of the hotel cards for all of the various chains of hotels that I, the Hyatt card and the for the Hyatt stays and for the Hilton. We've had a couple big events that gave me a crap load of Hilton points this year, like almost 1 million from having events. So that it makes sense for me. But from a personal perspective, I think that the gold card from Amex is worth its weight in gold. But I think the dining is, it's. And when it comes to plane tickets, I put it on my American Express Platinum card because it's 5X, obviously the personal card. And like Marshall said, you kind of the benefits that you have from that card, you get it back for sure. And it's easy to make that money back, even if the fees have gone up substantially, right? You get streaming credit is $240 or $20 a year. Worth of free stuff that you can do. So you could do Peacock and you can do, Paramount Plus and or Disney Plus and all of these guys. You can charge to those cards and then they will credit it to you. I use that's
the American Express Platinum card, right?
That's the Platinum card, yes.
But the personal card, not the business card.
The personal card is the one I recommend. The Platinum card is you have that Dell thing is the only thing that really is valuable there. But it's more of a card that you use for signing up for, and then you kind of dump it after a while. That's the business Platinum card. If you have the other one, it's kind of a waste of money. And then for my 2X card, on everyday purchases, it's Gary's third card on the top right. The Venture X from Capital One gives you 2X on everything else. I think is a good gig. And when you have a business and you put hundreds of thousands of dollars on the cards a year, then obviously that pays off for me like that. And that's a flexible currency. You were talking about the flexible currency. You have, Citi has a flexible currency. Chase has a flexible currency, and Capital One also has a flexible currency.
And Amex,
of course, American Express. They can transfer over to dozens of other programs. So it's you correctly, as you all said, it's very, very smart not to have airline credit cards. I mean, I don't think that American Airlines is credit cards are worth having. I have the Platinum Select whatever card to just have one there because it gives you.
But what about for checked bags, Tommy?
Well, for us, the three of us, we have. If you don't have status and you don't travel a lot, sure. We live in a Southwest Fortress hub. 56% flights out of here are with Southwest, and as you know, they don't charge for bags.
Well, that's true. I guess if you have a gold, I'm gold status on American for life. I guess I don't have to pay for bags then, do I?
Exactly. You're gold for life, and so does everybody on this call. So that's kind of the game.
So I don't need that credit card then, because
let's see what Gary's doing. Yeah, because you have a dinner appointment. You're going on a date, right, Rudy?
I'm not going on a date, but I'm meeting some friends in 34. I got to leave here in 34 minutes, a quarter before the hour, but I'll leave the rest.
Well, that's why we're going to move down and see what Gary's doing. American Express Gold Card is really underappreciated. It's most probably the membership rewards earning cards the best. It is 4X on restaurants, takeout, delivery, supermarkets. Also, when you grocery stores. I think the Whole Foods / Amazon card is also good. It's 5% cash back from Amazon and Whole Food purchases, and it's a free card from Chase, right? That's also a winner when it comes to that kind of stuff. And then he has the Bilt MasterCard. He's talking about that. I would say that, the rent day and all that stuff. In all honesty, it's what's valuable with the Bilt card for me. Like he's talking about, he's been putting dining on it. He's doing it to diversify his points. I honestly, these guys are pushing the Bilt card like nobody's business for obvious reasons. But
can I interrupt here as a Bilt card expert? The dining thing is a little deceiving because there's only about 5 or 6 cities in which they have restaurants that you get that bonus. You don't take it out for dining. You get any bonus miles or bonus points. Excuse me.
I thought we already talked about that, and we figured out that that's not the case. Did we not?
I just looked again online today.
Okay,
cool. It's got to be New York or Boston or what
Right, and we know that also. I haven't pulled the trigger on the Bilt card yet. It's good to have. I just do use the Executive Club route or the Alaska Airlines route to redeem on American.
I think the Bilt card's only good for renters. It saves me $60 a month. That's what, $720 a year in fees. And I used to pay for my rent with a credit card to get points. And then I realized, wait, this is costing me $720 to get points a year. The Bilt card obviates that.
Right, and then you have the World of Hyatt credit card too. It's an easy way for me to. I have done that in the past to put some spend on the Hyatt card in order to maintain my status. It's also a good gig because it's a good currency, and you cannot have enough Hyatt points. Is the stuff that you're always low on the Hyatt points, right? So, and then the Amex card, Platinum he has, and that's desk drawer strategy. It's too long. Let's not talk about that. Moving over to Russia. That's what we're going to talk about next. So we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. So there's no more sanctions coming now, right? And one of the things that are being considered, it hasn't been presented yet, which I think should be all of the airlines that fly to Russia and that are taking advantage of the situation of.
I don't think that was in Biden's thing today, was it? It wasn't.
It wasn't. No, I'm surprised that it was. It should have been, because there are actually major inconveniences for American and European carriers that are out of Russia right now and can't use the airspace to fly over. So it's competitive. The American and European government should definitely stop any airlines that flies into Russia. In my opinion, should not be allowed to fly into the United States. It should not be allowed to fly into Europe at all. And Turkish Airlines
fly into Russia. What airlines fly into Russia, Tommy?
A lot of them, 60 of them.
Turkish, obviously, yeah.
So if we were to look at Turkish is the worst offender. They are literally, the funny part is they bought a few of the Russian Aeroflot's 350s, and they're flying with Aeroflot's seats in them to other destinations also. I saw a friend of mine who flew on it a couple of weeks ago from the West Coast to Istanbul, from LA or Seattle. I don't remember. So they're using it for that. So in reality, Turkish Airlines is Aeroflot right now. But major airlines. Let's go down the list. So Emirates are flying multiple daily flights to Moscow and St. Petersburg. Etihad, Qatar, Gulf Air, Oman Air, Fly Dubai, Air Arabia, and Jazeera Airways from Kuwait are flying in.
Is Indian Airlines flying in?
Yes, they are. We'll get to that. So the second one is Ethiopian Airlines. Star Alliance member, stellar pilots. They know how to do their thing there at that place. Royal Air Maroc, Nouvelle Air, which is out of Tunisia, has a lot of flights from Tunisia to Europe, and multiple flights to Paris a day. Egypt Air, Air Cairo, Air Algeria, and an airline I haven't heard of, the Universal Airlines, Al Masriya. Then you've got all the Chinese airlines and Viet Jet, Sri Lankan, which is also in One World, Sichuan Airlines and Mongolian Airlines. You've got Turkish and Pegasus, which is another Turkish airline. And you have Air Serbia, which we're going to talk about later. They were out flying a little bit yesterday with one of their E195s, and it didn't go so well. Tailwind Airlines from Turkey, Corendon Air, which is 2 charter companies, Belavia from Belarus, no surprise there, Anadolu Air from Turkey. So
Well, has there been any talk about putting sanctioning?
We're talking about it right now. Spread the word.
No. I just wondered if in DC and government circles, do they talk about?
They should. I mean, there was talk about it, but it's been a while. They got to stop it. This has to. So here's the thing: U.S. carriers and European carriers are spending a crap load of money flying around Russia and avoiding the airspace extra, and these guys are taking advantage of flying over Russian airspace to save money on gas. They should be banned altogether. El Al, freaking Israeli airlines are flying to Moscow. Are you kidding me? 2 daily flights to with El Al. Huh? What the hell's that all about? Royal Jordanian, Sarin, or Iraqi Mahan Air, no surprise there. Royal Jordanian also in One World. So yeah, we're talking big airlines and airlines that are flying into the U.S. Not all of them, but many of them.
Yeah.
Says the Indian carriers. The Air India it doesn't appear to be flying into. Did I miss that on the list?
I didn't.
They fly over Russia for sure, but I don't know if they're flying into Russia. And somebody commented in the comment seconds. Yeah, so maybe they are. Yeah, so somebody is. Somebody's very certain in the comment section. I'm not going to repeat that. Moving over to parts. And it looks like so Moldova is. You've been to Moldova, Rudy, right?
I have not. No, I haven't.
Marshall?
No.
So that's Melinda and I were there not that long ago. There is a Transnistria, which is a Russian breakout republic that was there, has been there since the 90s. So the Russians are kind of in there. And it looks like a Moldovan. So the issues that we're seeing in Russia is that there's no parts to repair all these airplanes, right? It's a firm was just busted earlier this month brokering illegal parts despite of sanction. It turns out that there was some sort of a loophole in the EU sanctions that they were actually able to do it, but they have now shut that up or shut that down. So that's kind of interesting that happened. All right, so that's all I had on the Russia piece. Okay. I have another piece of a passenger came out early on Monday this week. A passenger suing Lufthansa over injuries from the I know. I remember that flight. I don't know. You remember that? I mean, as you could see, things was flying around like nobody's business on that flight.
But on what grounds is he suing?
He hurt his back, and there was violent turbulence, and he thinks that Lufthansa should have had the seatbelt sign on. So I was just talking to Melinda about that. We flew from on Sunday. We flew from LA. We flew with Lufthansa, coincidentally from Europe to LA, and then we flew from LA up to Sacramento, where we live. And he had the seatbelt sign, and it's like literally the turbulence was so minor that a European Airlines wouldn't have turned off the seatbelt. Would have turned off the seatbelt sign at 300 feet. That's how little wind there was, or a little turbulence there was on that flight. And it was like, whoa, we're going to have to be served. So there was like, I wanted a glass of water, and that was impossible for that flight. So now you know why, why the U.S. carriers have that seatbelt sign on the whole time.
But don't they say what U.S. carriers keep your seatbelt on all the time when you're in your seat?
Lufthansa actually has a thing where they have, it's quite unique, that they are requiring you to have your seatbelts on when you're sitting in your chair. They make announcements about that.
Was he in his chair?
No, he was flying around. He hit the overhead bin. Let's see here.
He didn't have his seatbelt sign on. He was in his seat, but went flying.
No, he was in his seat. He didn't have his seatbelt on, and he went airborne. And he had a lumbar fracture and a disc herniation when the aircraft encountered sudden and violent turbulence.
Wait a minute. He was in his. I'm missing something. He was in his seat, and the seatbelt light was on.
The seatbelt sign was not on because this was unadvertised.
Okay, but he was in his seat. He was not.
He was in
walking
his
on the
seat,
plane.
but he didn't have a seatbelt on,
Okay,
and he went airborne. And he thinks that they should have figured out that there would be turbulence. I guess it can happen unexpectedly, or so I've heard on the on that Hightailer announcement. For the last 30 years of my stinking life, I've heard him say that it can happen suddenly.
That's
I know,
true.
They tell you keep your seatbelt on even if you're seated, and even if the seatbelt light is not on.
Right.
I think he's got a tough case on that one.
What do you think, Marshall? You think he should
know,
have had a seatbelt on?
He should have had his freaking belt on, unless he was getting up to go somewhere. So.
Looks like that guy on the right. He ordered the chicken. Wow. Yeah. Well, it happens. All right. Found a kind of an interesting gig. So SAS Day, this is in Norwegian. So it's a little bit difficult unless you kept up on your Norwegian skills. SAS retired their entire NG 737 fleet last year. And one of the 700s, is it a 700? I can't see. The guy is blocking the emergency exit, but it looks like a 700 to me, has been turned into a flying hospital. And they are using this. It's been reused. It's owned by the Norwegian government. And I think SAS is flying for them now. They're flying in and out of Ukraine, and they have it as a flying hospital. As you can see, it's been repurposed to be a hospital. So they are evacuating civilians and also military, people who are wounded during the war. I thought that was kind of fascinating that it is functioning as a hospital flying in and out of Ukraine. I think that's kind of cool.
Yep. That is cool. Good. A good news story for once.
Yes. Last to jump on the bandwagon. So Alaska started the whole $35 for a checked bag. Then, monkey see, monkey do. I guess they all agreed. And the last to hop on the bandwagon earlier today was United Airlines, who are increasing their bag fees by $5. And if you pay in advance, it's $5. If you do it at the airport, it is not $35, it is $40. And for the second bag, it is $45 if you pay in advance, and $50 at the airport.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Well, you got to fly
Get
Southwest.
That credit card.
Yeah, you got to get your Explorer card from.
Right.
This change isn't surprising or unreasonable. It's.
I was suggesting it's a lot of money for the airlines, and if they can collect $5 a bag from people who don't have any way to have a free bag, that's it's good income.
Yeah, it's what this means. It means that flights are going to continue being delayed, and this country is by far the worst in the world when it comes to turning an airplane. That 737-800 has in the U.S. How many seats are on that, Marshall, in the U.S.?
With American, roughly 170-ish.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's the maximum is 189, which is what Norwegian and Ryanair and those guys have over in Europe, because they don't have first class and they don't have leg rooms, because people in Europe are not as wide as we are. So, and the turnaround time for a particular, that one, what we're seeing here is a Max. The turnaround time for 170 seats in the U.S. is, I don't know, an hour?
It used to be 50 minutes when I was there. It could be more by now, but.
And in Europe, it's 25 minutes. They're able to deplane and board a plane and get it ready out of there in 25 minutes.
Well, that's because they're more polite and organized than we are as Americans.
And you are allowed to check bags without paying in most of the airlines. Okay, that's changing now in Europe, but obviously here, when it's $40, that is a substantial amount of cash. And that means that people are going to be hauling their stuff on board the airplane.
Yep.
All right, Rudy, this one is yours. Bali. They want you to pay a tourist levy, $150,000. Oh, no, that was.
No, it's actually not much. I calculated the other day, and now I can't remember.
$9.62.
There you go, about $10. Yeah.
So what is this for? You paid in advance?
You can pay in advance. You pay when you get there. Yeah, I think probably
Looks
pay
like
when
you
you
can
get there.
pay it right here.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Exemption.
can.
People are asking for exemption.
Why does someone get exempted?
Official duties and specific citizenship statuses. I don't know if I would be making a big stink about $9.62. You said, Lucky was just saying in this article that, it's not shocking and it's not really that bad that American is or United is increasing the price with $5. But fair enough. Good to know. And also it's good that you can buy it online so you don't have to line up at the airport or do things like that. I like it when they think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And the Centurion Lounge is finally open at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. The City in the Forest is the theme of this lounge.
What's the theme?
The City in the Forest. They got a big ass tree. You see that?
Oh, right in the middle.
It's the City in the Forest. The
Lots
design
of
is
trees in Atlanta.
What?
Lots of trees in Atlanta.
And cockroaches. The design is inspired by Atlanta's reputation as the city in the forest. You're right. I had no idea.
I lived there.
I didn't know that was. I didn't know that was Atlanta's reputation either. I mean, not that it's denuded of trees, but I never thought it was a particular tree-lined city. But it looks like, I mean, the pictures I've seen, I don't think any of us have been because it just opened. But it seems like a very attractive lounge. I don't hope it's big enough.
It's 26,000 square feet.
What'd you say, Marshall?
That's the thing. I hope it's big enough too, especially in Atlanta, where there are going to be a lot of platinum card holders because they've been using those cards for Sky Club access.
Yep.
The Centurion Network's first whiskey bar is in this lounge. Yeah. Marshall, I sense a meetup. It's required to check out the various.
Sounds fine to me. I booked an extra long layover in Atlanta on my way back from Tampa next month just to have time to go snap a picture.
Beautiful. We got to get a short video to show on the show. 20 classic and new American whiskeys are going to be poured at this place. Okay. Sounds like my kind of place.
Right.
Beautiful. All right. The last one we have is Lake Superior is now on a no travel list, photos no travel list because of environmental concerns.
Yeah, well, that picture, I've seen a lot. I don't live on Lake Superior, but I live in Minnesota and I've been up to Lake Superior a lot. And I don't quite ever seen water that blue. I think there's some color correction going on there.
Well, it's like in Chicago, they color the river green for St. Patty's Day. And
well, right. I don't know. I can't imagine they did that for this, but I was very surprised that Lake Superior is having environmental problems like that. And that article goes on to list other places. I think they've got Venice, the places that are often thrown in there as other places that are under siege just because of so many tourists and gunk being thrown around. So I'm surprised Lake Superior is. I'm really surprised Lake Superior is.
Well, it's forever chemicals. Algae blooms have appeared in the western end of the lake. And a record number, 150,000 cruise passes. What? There's cruises on Lake?
Yes, there are.
There are. They go up in the fall to see the trees and, Yep. They're great.
That's crazy. So don't go to Lake Superior. Is that what we're saying?
Oh, go to Lake. I mean, look, Duluth is a pretty cool city. It kills me to admit it because I'm not a Minnesota resident and sort of moved here for a woman and don't know why I'm here now. But Duluth is sort of interesting, and the lake's fine. The lake's fine. I mean, I'm not going swimming in it.
Phone number to U-Haul for you if you wanted to move, or how does that go?
And what's called the North Shore, where Minnesota wraps around Lake Superior, is beautiful, and the lake is beautiful up there. Now, maybe it's cleaner up there because there's no industry, which is very possible. But I wouldn't write Lake Superior off till I would not go to Lake Superior. But
yeah, let's not go to Minnesota. It's either -30 or it's filled with algae. So that's
Tommy, it is going to be 60 degrees here on Monday. It's been 50. I mean, it's weird. It's a weird winter. A couple inches of snow the whole winter. This is very un-Minnesota-like.
Global warming, baby.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm gonna say goodbye to you two bad boys. I've got a dinner. It's
All right.
6:30 dinner, and I got to go about a half an hour. So I'm gonna
you got
say
to go
goodbye.
comb your hair before you leave.
Okay, you'll do the sign out for me. Remind
Okay.
everybody. Yeah, comb my hair. Very funny. Remind everybody what the date is before we sign off.
You go to
23rd.
that bowling alley down the street. You can just put your hair in the ball buffer. It'll be faster.
23rd of February, 2023. If you're watching this, that information, as far as we know, is accurate and current. But if you're watching it a year later and wonder what the heck we're talking about, it's because you're watching it a year later. But Tommy will remind you of that when we sign out. Okay. Arrivederci.
Ciao bello.
Ciao.
Bye, Marco.
Yeah, then this is the second to last thing I have on my list, which is Air Serbia. There's a hole in your Embraer, dear Lisa. Yeah, this was one hell of a gig. They decided in Serbia, this one was going to Dusseldorf, of all places. They decided that it was a good idea to enter the runway and take off with only, let's see, the runway is 11,483 feet. However, they entered at 4,000 feet left of runway. They figured that was a good idea. And this is an E195, 16-year-old E195. So yeah, it wasn't that much. And it appears that they hit a couple of tractors and some other things out in the bushes because they exited. They were not airborne. They were not airborne in 4,000 feet.
That's not a lot of runway for that airplane.
No, not really. No, not if it's it's not the speediest. Let's just say it's not a 757. Let's just say that it's not over motorized.
No.
So they ran into. There's a video. I'm not going to show it because of copyright stuff. But go to YouTube or go to One Mile at a Time. It's on the front page. They took off. It only became airborne 1,600 feet after the end of the runway.
I'm impressed they got airborne at all, to be honest.
They did. They sure did. It's unbelievable in so many levels. That's true. Lucky is absolutely right on this. And I will tell you, so the aircraft stopped its climb. So the aircraft became airborne 1,650 feet past the end of the runway. The aircraft then struggles to climb and only made it to 50 feet above ground level, 6,700 feet past the end of the runway. The aircraft stopped its climb at 4,000 feet, burned off fuel, then returned to Belgrade, where it landed about 55 minutes after departure. The aircraft actually first made a low pass over the airport so that the landing gear could be checked prior to making the second approach, where, I would assume, and they landed. Everything's good. Everything's good in the hood. It's an interesting video. I recommend it. And, they got lucky, if you ask me.
Absolutely. Could have been easily taken out by whatever they were running into on the ground, opened up a fuel leak, fire.
Yeah, you can see the root of the wing there.
Yeah.
It is. See the metal that's sticking up there?
Nice.
They got lucky. It's good that it was it's good when it ends well, but it probably is. It's kind of crazy, but and it's also their home airport of these pilots. Which wait a minute, I think that OYGDC. Where the hell is that? Where is that registration? OY, isn't that Finland?
Let's look.
It is. Yeah, Marathon Airlines. So it's actually it's operated by a diverted. It looks like it diverted. It didn't fly since 18th of February for some reason. I don't know why. It might be that hole in that fuselage. Yeah, no, I will tell you, we're lucky that ended well, and it's actually So it is. It's red. It's a Greek carrier that operates this plane and owns this plane. So it must be a wet lease that's going on there.
Oh yeah.
All right. the big financial news of the week, which most of the people who are going to watch this video couldn't care less about. Grandma's credit card company got acquired by Capital One.
That's who they are, huh? Grandma's credit card company.
Yeah, old people has Discover cards, right?
I guess. I've never carried one.
Would it surprise you how let me so I actually how big is Discover? I googled that earlier.
Yeah.
They have, are you ready for it? 60.6 million issued Discover cards in the United States.
Wow.
They have a market share of 8%, and American Express has 7.5%. So they're larger than American Express. And when it comes to number of issued cards,
I had no idea.
I had no idea either. Obviously these are cashback cards. They only have one card, I think, but they have I did find there are some other ones, but they got a student version of it, and they've got there's no annual fee, right, on any of this. I think, right? No annual fee, no annual fee. No, none of them have that. There's a student one. There's a secured one. I don't know what the difference is, but it's 5% cash back in various quarterly categories. So it's kind of like the Chase cards, right? The Ink and the Freedom, right? And so it's pure cash back. But they also have a miles credit card. So you can redeem it back, to whatever purchases. So it's really a cash back. It's just worse.
Yeah.
And then they got the NHL Discover card because old people, they love hockey.
They sure do.
There you have it. What to say about this merger?
We'll see if it gets approved. It's feels like there's a lot of concentration in banking, and are beginning to be anyway. Mm-hmm. And we'll just have to see.
Elizabeth Warren does not want it to happen.
No.
Is that the one that has the nice name for that Donald Trump has a calling name for?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Mega mergers are hardly ever good for the consumer. We can tell you that much. Right?
I don't think so either.
Right. So it's airline mergers has been, we've seen back and forth on that a little bit, and there's going to be a push for I'm sure blocking this, but I don't think.
I suspect so, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm honestly for in our world, it really doesn't have a big impact on anything that we do. Lost you there. Maybe you fell out, or your microphone fell out of or your laptop fell out. You're still online though, but that is all good. And that was the last thing I had for today. So I think since you are gone, I'll just wrap it up. And this is episode number 44 of the Miles and Points Report, where we cover weekly. It's a day late. It's supposed to be yesterday. It didn't work out. So we would bring this into happy hour instead. If you're on the, happy hour for me starts in about 5 minutes. But there you are. He came back from you're on mute. You're still on mute. Well, there you go.
Sorry about that. I had to go save a cat from something.
Oh, was that Oliver?
No. Sonny had climbed on something he shouldn't have. But it's fine.
Happens.
All is well. And
all right, and you got the FTU in town. You're going to probably maybe stop by and say hello to somebody.
I may drop by and say hi. We'll see.
Beautiful. And I couldn't make it this weekend, but I'll make it to Seattle. We're going to go up there. I was just chatting with Charlie Hagedorn, who we're going to go out to dinner on Friday. Is, when is it? It is May 4th in Seattle.
I'll put it on my calendar. I really got to go this time, though, Tommy. Sorry, I got to herd a cat.
Yes, sir. I'll go say it.
Okay.
Say hello to the missus. I'll see you all next week. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you next week. And for those who are interested in the FGU in Seattle, it just went up on the website. It's going to be on May 4th. It's our first post-pandemic Seattle event. We haven't been there since 2019, I think, or maybe 2018. I don't remember, but it's been a long time since we're in Seattle. It'll be at that 4 Points by Sheraton by the airport, and I'm going to head up there myself. We got some local guys. We got Charlie Hagedorn. We got No Moss coach guy Ben and John and Matthew Clint. We've got Jimmy, and we got John Ryan, which is a kid who's riding for Bougie Miles. So it should be a good gig for that. And there you have it. This is Tommy Danielsen on the Miles and Points Report on February the 23rd. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you guys on Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific.